Welcome to the Wood Work podcast. I'm your host today. It's Paul from GCR Builds in Liverpool. Today we have Ben on from, is it Brindley Woodworks?
Brindley Timberworks.
Brindley Timberworks over in Derbyshire Way.
Yep.
Thank you for joining us first, Ben. Would you like to please tell everyone who you are? Because obviously I fudged that a little bit. And what it is you sort of do as a general rule.
Yeah, so my name's Ben, owner of Brindley Timberworks, a small joinery business based in Derbyshire for 19 years now. So I do more this sort of the non-standard work. So the bits that people can't get made off the shelf or the big firms don't want to make because the tool setup times are too timely. So ranging from we do small runs of windows, custom outdoor furniture. I've been doing obviously the general house bash joinery as well, because obviously it's always handy to get your hands in with the trade. So yeah, it's just the bits that people tend to miss out, we sort of capitalize on, and that's how my business model works.
Picking up the crap that other people don't want to do,
but making money out of it.
Yeah, I think it's very similar to John we had done the other week. Actually, he does all the big interior projects that a general firm will not take on.
Yeah.
So you said you do quite because you do. I've seen on social you do craft fairs when it comes to craft fair season, should we call it, as well?
Yeah. So that's how I started. So 19 years ago, I used to work for an engineering company, and I just got fed up of traveling with work. So you're just all over the shop. So you get a phone call early in the morning, really get this place, blah blah blah, and it's just like I just got fed up of traveling around. So, and woodworking was a hobby for me, and I was actually earning an income from it. So it was sort of like thinking, well, it was subsidizing while I was being trained. So I had the opportunity at the time thinking, well, actually, I'm either going to have to do it now while I've got very little costs and overheads at the time, because I was 21, and take the leap, which is a big leap, or wait later in life, but then will it ever happen? So I took the leap. So the events were a way to get into the trade and buy the equipment, because equipment doesn't have to be expensive. But if you're looking at long-term purchasing equipment, it can get very expensive. So the way to create cash flow for me was actually going on to the events, using up all my offcuts, no waste, being ethical about material usage, which is also a really big selling point for the business, to actually make sure that we are truly efficient. So nothing gets wasted, no money's wasted, and it all gets put back through. So, for example, we've got 16 days at Haddon Hall this Christmas. Retailing there, and we've got material to one side, been put into one side for 6 months, all the offcuts, keep it to one side. So we've already got Christmas trees shapes upstairs, we've got stars upstairs. It's like, if you go upstairs on the mezzanine up there, it's literally like a Christmas grotto at times. You're like, oh God, it's a bit early, isn't it? But you've got to be prepared. And to the point where I've even bought someone else's waste and turned it into, we're going to turn that into shopping boards. So we bought a load of reject sort of hardwoods, beech, sapele, stuff like that, and we'll turn it into simple boards, fast builds, efficient builds. So not your fancy end grains, keeping it really simple, but keeping it actually economical to build, and actually a ready price point that people will buy and think, okay, I spend 50 quid on this, or 45 quid on this as a gift, or 20 quid on this as a gift. So it's ready hand priced items. And we do that as part of the events, and it works. It's a really good way of actually also bolstering income. So when you think Christmas is coming, so you've got 2 weeks off, well, you bash your events out on top of that. That's your holiday spend while you're off on Christmas holidays.
Yeah, I mean, wait, as you say, for like originally almost by selling dealer craft fairs and what have you, and that is a way that you see on a lot of woodworking groups, except that a lot of people sort of get into via the craft fairs, and that's how, if I sell 10 of these, I can buy the router that I need, or a saw that I need, or anything along that lines. And it is it's a very normal way. The Christmas markets using waste and what have you, as you say, and keeping the cost down to keep them impulse buys down as low as you can.
Yeah.
So, because I think it might be John, the green wood turner lad that we had on very at the start of the podcast when it started, and he was sort of saying that he found anything under 50 quid people would just impulse buy. Whether it's more than 50 quid, people go away, they think about it, and they don't always come back because it's like that's the cut-off part that 50 quid's expensive. Anything more than 50 quid, and you try and keep it.
I found 2 points actually. So you've got your below £50 items, which is a really big point. So something between 25 and 50 quid is a really good price point. But also having stuff that also leads on into your other work. So having stuff at £200 to £250 and actually sort of showcases that little glimmer of what you do. And that actually generates me quite a bit of site work. So somebody saw a garden bench we had on, very simple, but nice clean lines on it. And he said, oh, what else can you make? And we ended up with a shepherd's hut out of it.
Oh, yeah, so at least you're getting a decent job out. But again, it's that a bench is quite a large item to take along to the little makers market, isn't it?
Yeah.
You don't sell it for whatever reason. And it's a lot of lugging about. But if you haven't got that there to showcase what you can do.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't sort of realise it. Like when I do a job, like, oh, so I'll go and do whatever. And, of course I can do that. I'm a joiner. They don't realise that what we do as a joiner, like when we're doing house bashing, if you like, they might think, oh, well, I need a kitchen fitter. No, you don't need a kitchen fitter. That's a nonsense trade. That's not a trade. Probably people disagree with you. Let me know in the comments when you do, because I know some of you will do.
It's a specialisation.
But it's not a trade.
No.
And people say to me, I don't need a joiner to fit the kitchen. I need a kitchen fitter. No, you don't. A joiner is what would fit a kitchen. It's just because they've sort of like tried to get a branch out of the sort of joinery side to create their own like qualifications and this, that, and the other. Like, no, you they get the kitchen fitters that can't do worktop treats. Well, how can a kitchen fitter not do a worktop treat? Well, it's because they're not a joiner.
No, well, that's where I get the unusual ones quite often, where you get ones going, I've asked someone to do this, but they said they can't make these carcasses to match up this kitchen. I'm like, well, a big joinery shop won't take it on. The kitchen fitter won't do it because he's got to make it. So I get them make it, install it, the worktops, all that lot done. Yeah, you get the nervous moment when someone throws at your face, like, oh yeah, I want this worktop, and you got to fit a Belfast sink into it, and it costs you £120 plus VAT a metre for this oak worktop, and it's in a 4.6 metre length. And you're thinking, well, if you mess that up, that's a bit nervous, but hey-oh, here we go.
Well, it is, yeah. I mean, there's always that when making any sort of fitted furniture as well, whatever, you only have to get the measurement out slightly wrong. And then that is a very expensive piece that you've just completely cocked up, because if you're making it bespoke size for a certain size, it ain't going nowhere else.
No.
Because, you know what I mean? It's there. And if it doesn't fit, I mean, well,
we've all done it.
And start again.
But also the other thing is, with certain mistakes, that's where experience comes in. You learn how to adapt around that mistake. A problem's only a problem until you can solve it.
Well, yeah, to a point.
To a point. No,
I mean, we've all been there. The ones that have been in the trade for like 20 plus years, telling me that we've not, woken up like in the middle of the night thinking, shit, I've done that measurement wrong on a unit you made.
Oh yeah, you get some not actually, you don't sleep well. You're thinking.
And then of course you get there, it's like it just flies in perfectly. Like,
oh yeah.
I mean, it's the old thing. I mean, the amount of times I do, and we all do it. The other day was I had to message someone that came to me over the Lamello Rosetta for a lot of help when he first got it. So I told him all about, I gave him as much help as I could. And I had to message him the other day over using P10 Clamexes into 15mm because I was I've got a big wardrobe job. I'm just starting up with carcasses at the minute. I'm like, just second guessing yourself, because I mean the P10 is made for 15mm, so of course it's the correct fitting for that scenario. And we've done hundreds and hundreds of them over, thousands of the different Clamexes and Tensos and Dominoes and all, but we still second guess ourselves all the time, don't we? And
yeah.
I think that's just because when you're taking something on bespoke, in that sense of making like a fitted unit, it's, you're not making a 600 wide unit, which, is a lot more easy to comprehend in your head almost, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I'm an old school, I like my yardsticks.
I usually thought I do admit when I'm putting down. I keep forgetting I've now got a banner, so people aren't obviously just listening. I've now got like a green screen effect behind me with the logo on. So like I'll point around me thinking, oh, this, that, and the other, and like you can't see it anymore because all you can see is my sort of a wooden work banner behind me. I always forget about that now. But yeah, because I've seen quite a few bits like you do like a lot of benches, outdoor furniture, which fits in quite well because is it Chapel you're in or some a bit out?
Yeah, just outside Chapel on the Frith, just on the edge of the Peak District National Park.
So it's
So
quite
literally about a mile from the border.
Yeah.
So
of course down there you've got a lot of like Lyme Park and all that, haven't you? Which
well, we've got Castleton nearby, Buxton, Chatsworth. So I've done Chatsworth Country Fair before now as part of retail, and that got us some good work. So yeah, it's but yeah, what you call it. It's a great area to be, and with the nature of the work we get out of it as well, because there's a lot of older properties where nothing is standard. It's the sort of the actual bespoke side and working around problems is a really big plus point.
Yeah, obviously it's quite in-fitting because obviously with a lot of around that area, a lot of it's very much semi-rural still, isn't it? With even as you go as far as like Tillerrington and like Prestbury, Oley, and all those sort of quite affluent areas as well. There's still an awful lot of very ruralness, which with the farms and the old estates.
Yeah.
So that ties in nicely to your sort of work that you're doing.
Yeah. Well, that's it. We end up travelling out as far, which it's sometimes it's a good hour's drive. So we end up travelling out as far as Wilmslow, Alderley Edge, stuff like that. So we have a client base around there. So the only thing with being rural is you do have travelling. So you do end up going. You can be an hour plus, but it's easy driving, but it's just a lot of miles.
Yeah, but you say that though because I actually grew up in, as you know, I grew up in the same area. I grew up in Tidrington.
Yeah.
So I know the areas from where where you're from very well. But like you say that about the travel, and I remember obviously when I was working because I did my early days at a firm based out of Prestbury, and so yeah, I understand because we used to do a lot of work all over the place because we do a lot of schools and what have you. But now I live in Liverpool, though, to be honest, so you can sort of like literally, I want to get 5 miles across town. So like if you want to go down to the docks or something like that, it can take me an hour and a quarter, an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I go over the water 7 miles. It's an hour. So
yeah.
It's a bit different though.
Yeah, it's 6 and 2 3s.
Yeah, it's that's city driving though. To go anywhere in the city it takes you 20 minutes.
Yeah,
a mile down the road, it's 20 minutes.
I couldn't do that. Minutes. I'm a country lad. I couldn't do that.
I don't know. No, I don't really go much. But so the main reason we've actually got you on as the guest today is what is only a bit, I don't know, stupid's not really the word. Crazy, probably more fitting. But you've always done a lot of running and that sort of thing as a sort of a hobby thing, haven't you, as you like. But I noticed you're doing this, when I say crazy, this thing with you're doing all these stupid long runs. Like some of my old dog racing friends, they used to do a lot of these ultras and stuff. They always used to call them stupid because there's a car to travel 50 miles. You don't run 50 miles. But you're taking a wheelbarrow around different races and events. I mean, you're raising it for charity. I know you're doing it all for a charity. Can you tell us about that, about the charity you're doing it for, working with type thing?
Yeah. So to give you a little bit of background, I started running about 10 years ago, and I actually use running as a method to help with my mental health. I suffer with anxiety, and sometimes it can be a bad thing. I get too focused. I feel what other people believe. I actually focus on what I think people think of me and think people expect of me. And that is one of the issues with anxiety. But for me, it also has a really big effect of actually zoning me out from the world. So running's always been that little bit of a crutch that's helped me get by in life since I found it. And when I was actually looking online about things within the industry, I found out that one startling fact that 2 people every working day within the construction related industries take their own life. And this was actually a fact that was actually on with the Lighthouse construction charity. and they do a lot to support for quite a long time, but they're not a massively known charity because it's very niche to people within the trades. So people like joinery, plumbing, construction, stuff like that. And they support people with mental health, well-being, and financial advice. So they have a helpline which you can text people every day in hard hat, and someone will get in contact with you to support you. So but yeah, so I thought, well, okay, I never knew about that when I had a really bad moment in life. So why didn't I know about it? Well, people don't talk about it. So why don't we make it more visible?
Yeah, I think that is because obviously mental health these days it is a very important factor, 100%. But I think because of us being that slightly little bit older compared to the lads that, the younger lads on site, what have you, because we're, in the 40s, so it's a stigma that we were never to talk about. It was a case of, and it is being in the building trade, no matter joining, plumbing, tiling, whatever within the trade, it's stressful. It's a lot of hard work, and it's not something that we ever did talk about as a rule until recent years. I mean, I'd never heard of the Lighthouse charity until you mentioned it when I saw on your social media pages.
Yeah.
I do think it's a good thing to say that it's quite the amount of crap that goes on in our heads and the stuff. I mean, you can get one absolute dickhead customer and they can destroy you.
Yeah. That's it. You sometimes you go home, you can't switch off because you've had a really bad day on site. They've been really picky, or they come out with the line that when you turn up on site and they go, I don't want to ruin your day, but, and things like that. And it's like, you've literally rolled up 30 seconds before, and it's a complete nonsensical thing, but that's instantly applied the pressure for the day.
Yeah.
And it set your tone for the day. And if you're working in a job that's not the greatest sort of situation or the greatest place to be, so like bad access or stuff like that, it just, that being down on morale, it magnifies. And then you're thinking, okay, are they going to pay you at the end of the job? And things like that, because if they're coming up with things like that, you have that concern, and all these things compound. But if you're on your own, it's your business, or you've got staff to pay, stuff like that, it's that pressure that people don't see. And that's the whole reason that I'm actually going to be doing these challenges with a barrow and things like that, because the barrow actually signifies the invisible load that those with mental health, financial, and well-being troubles carry around with them day in, day out. So the barrow's there, but it's not what you can see, it's what you can't see that actually is affecting people. And we need to talk about that.
Yeah, 100%, because as you say, you can, I mean, obviously if you go home for go home after a day on site or whatever, or out the workshop, and you go home, and if you've got a missus or a partner or whatever at home, they're going to know you're pissed off, 100%, because they know you, and they'll know you're pissed off or a bit down. But again, you just sort of like, I don't. I just say, yeah, it's just been a shit day, and that's pretty much her knowledge of my, like, no, I've been fucking pulled out today, and I've still got to do all my drawings, paperwork, and all that other shit. Again, the clients don't see. We don't do. There's no such thing when you're self-employed or have your own business. It's not 8 till 5. It's 1 a.m. in the morning till about 11 o'clock at night every day.
Yeah.
7 days a week.
It's when the customers actually message you at quarter to 11 at night, and then you actually have to tell them, don't message me at that time. They look at you kind of gone out, because you're not Amazon. You're a human. You don't need that pressure of someone messaging you going, oh, when you're on site tomorrow, can you do this? Well, that could have waited till even say 7 in the morning, not quarter to 11 at night.
So I don't know, because I message people quite often, quite late, but that's because I'm up because of other issues with like medications and stuff that I just wake up with shoulder pain. So I will message someone in the middle of the night, not a client, obviously.
No, but
I'll message other company, but I only expect them to get to it in the working day or whatever.
Yeah.
But as you say, I've had clients literally 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock on a Sunday evening, still, and why haven't you replied to me? Like, excuse me, I'm not on call for you 24 hours of the day. But they expect that, don't they? Because they think because of they're paying you.
Well, it's the culture now. It's not the fact that they're paying you. Everywhere has online chat group, so you speak to local energy company that you use. there's an online assistant on call all the time. Amazon, there's an online assistant on call all the time. So they're expecting it's a natural progression. So you basically they expect you to follow that status quo when they don't realize that actually you need time to switch off. Because if you don't switch off, you're not efficient. That's when accidents happen or you make mistakes and stuff like that. And you are human. So treat us like one.
Yeah, but like as well as you say though, because of obviously, I mean, you've got your break. You said you use the running as your sort of like mental release, if you call it, if that's the correct sort of phrase. But that sort of thing, and it doesn't matter what it is. Everyone has different things. I mean, some lads will go to the footy, won't they, have a pint with the mates, or if they're into that. I mean, I'm not. I mean, I think it's gay running around the field, blowing up a condom. But there you go. But yeah, I mean, definitely woodworking is actually still my release, and I'll come and do not a woodwork. I wouldn't do a client-based project to escape. I'll do something like I'll make my own router plane, or I'll make something for myself, or something I want to do away from the work part of it. But I think it's important that you need that release away from. It's not so much reality or life. Last thing you want to do is hide away or shy away or run away from it, because it just the problems then compound within itself, don't they?
Yeah.
If you don't speak to someone.
Yep.
And if you're saying, especially if the Lighthouse group, they have a call, again, everyone, all these links will be put in the description down below. So if you do need to seek anybody, you will be able to reach out to this company. There are other companies and charities out there that are able to help, aren't there, as well?
Yeah.
I'm not saying this is but this is the one that you're supporting and using as
a. Yeah, I'm supporting them. They've also got another initiative on which is called the Make It Visible, and that's actually sponsored by a commercial vehicle company, blue oval logo, if you know what I mean. And it's Ford, so Ford is sponsoring it.
Yeah,
so Ford is sponsoring it. They go around and they actually do large construction sites, and it's their Make It Visible campaign. So they're actually going out to construction sites, discussing all this to people on construction sites to actually break the stigma. And they're currently on a roadshow at the moment. So I think today they're around London and that sort of area at the moment, doing various visits to different building construction sites.
Cool.
So
I've not been on site. Like when I say site, I've not been on a construction building site.
Yeah.
Like, a proper building site for a long time now. So I mean, I didn't even know that was obviously I didn't know that was a thing. But I think that's good. But I just hope that people don't have that sort of thing where, behind, don't want the mates to say that they're struggling because it's not a thing. But one thing I don't like, and I mean, I've been witness to this as well, is people hiding or using mental health as a smokescreen, where they haven't got an issue as such, and they all. I know I've seen this with people, and they're because they can actually get a day off work by just using the words mental health when the card's in.
Yeah.
They use the words mental health to get a day off just because they can. Because that's the sort of things that some of these companies have in policies they have in place. And I think it's so wrong for people to, they're saying that they're struggling with whatever. It's just the old wolf, boy that cried wolf, isn't it? In that sense.
Well, the thing is, it's then taking resources, time, and help from those who actually need it.
I'll say it's definitely a thing that it's becoming a lot more prominent, I'd say, within the construction trade the last couple of years. There's definitely a lot more out there for lads. I think now just the way it's changed with a different generation now, aren't they? They're on Z or something or whatever now.
Yeah.
How it's all looked at a lot differently.
Yeah.
So at least lads our age, which the X generation as they call it, because we're the sort of ones we would just, as you say, we just suck it up and we crack on. That's what we do. That's how we were brought up.
But then that's how people break as well.
Oh, it is, because you can only take so much. I mean, I've been there in the past. I've had to have help with issues. I don't know, 10 years ago or something. It is. I mean, again, I don't need to see, but I mean, I'm very lucky that I've got a mate, one of the best mates. When he bumped into him a few years ago here, actually, over Liverpool, and I know him from Wilmslow Macclesfield days, back when we were sort of 18. So he if I'm not saying, if I just want to air things off, I just talk to him. And likewise, he talks to me. So at least you've got it's important to have something that you can just sort of
Yeah.
not be judged for it either, because you might not think that the problem that I've got hypothetically is an issue because it doesn't affect you in that way, but that one thing could really be compounding with everything else you've got going on, and that could really fuck you up, couldn't it?
Oh yeah, that's it. One of them little straws that breaks the camel's back.
Yeah, it doesn't take a lot, does it? Once you're on the edge, you only need the lightest feather to push you over it, don't you?
Yeah. Well, my low time, for example, was I had the pressures. I'd come back from a hernia operation, so I'd had 10 weeks out of work. So no money. So I didn't know if I was going to get paid by my insurance or not, and stuff like that. Then obviously they feel that obviously you got coming back into business, the pressure to get all that done, perform well with that. Then also I was meant to be running races, so the pressure that I put on myself, but I felt people expected of me within sport. Because at the time previous to that, I was actually performing fairly well and doing good results, like top 10s and stuff like that. And also the pressure that you feel that you've got to support your family. So you've got young children, stuff like that, a partner or a wife. So you got that sort of concern. So you got all that sort of thing that just keeps pushing on you and pushing on you. Then it just takes that one little tiny thing, and it could push you over the edge. And luckily, it didn't quite hit the edge, but I literally ended up coming home one day and just saying to my wife, I said, I need help, I need support. And at the time, services weren't too stretched because it was pre-COVID. And I managed to get some CBT. I was put on a priority case because I worked alone, being a joiner, and I got assistance. But now it's harder to get assistance because the services are much more stretched because things like the NHS is underfunded on certain points. So people need to know where else they can get help, because without that, we could lose good people.
Absolutely,
and that's the thing.
Everyone does deal with stuff differently, don't we? Do you know what I mean? Some people, there's no wrong way to deal with your little thing that you want to deal with. Like, if go boxing. Don't go boxing and find some. Don't go and find a smacker on the corner down there, and punch his lights out. But go and find your release, find your group of mates, go and speak to someone. Go. I hate running with a passion. I did that much. I never got through because I damaged my hamstring, but I was doing training for the Marines 15 odd years ago. So I was running every Sunday. I used to run from top end of Mac all the way out to sort of like Port Shrigley and back over White Nancy and back round through Vano with a 16 kilo pack on. And I used to do that in boots every Sunday, and then I'd be running 4 times a week. And I've never liked running. I've always hated it. I was more stressed about going out for the run than it was that you meant to enjoy it. I hated it. I hate running.
See, I'm the other way around. I'm the really annoying happy runner. So I go out and people are like, how are you doing? I'm like, yeah, fine. How are you doing? And they're like, oh my God, I can't talk. I'm like, yeah, it's all right, isn't it? Yeah. They're like, even in the middle of a race, you can be sort of like 20 mile into a race, absolutely gun it. I could just about pull a set and literally go past and go, hey mate, well done mate, keep going. And he's like, whoa. I'm like, see a bit. And he's like, I'm the weirdly sort of supportive, happy runner. So it's like sort of, but sometimes people need that bit of a perk up. So it's not just me sort of thinking about myself. Sometimes it's nice for people to have that bit of a positive bit when they're out, because some people, they might be struggling a bit. So give them that little bit of a positive boost.
Yeah, I did a half marathon. The only official long race I did was a half marathon. That was a Wilmslow one.
Yeah.
I tore my hamstring on that as well. I finished it. Tore my hamstring at mile 9, I think it was. I just stopped off and got some duct taped it together and cracked on and got it finished. Wasn't the best time. I did the last 4 miles were like something like, I think I did like 20-minute miles for the last 4 mile. I finished it with the torn hamstring. The hamstring was all over the place. I took that tape off though, but if you read. So tell us a bit more about these races, because you've got the wheels.
So
I know you've got some. I'm going to call them stupid. I'm using that as a.
Well, we're nicknaming wacky races.
They're batshit crazy. Let's face it.
Well, basically, it's doing what other people would see as a challenge, but in a more unorthodox manner.
Yes.
So it's starting off easy. Comparatively easy.
you know, go,
Comparatively easy. It gets worse.
Yeah, cool. Let's start off with the easy one because I'm going to think now this is going to be absolutely nuts if an easy one. What's your
So,
easy?
the comparatively easy one is I'm running a half marathon with a builder's construction grade wheelbarrow. So
which half marathon though? Because some of them
do it. Yeah, so I'm doing the Cheshire half. So I'm starting off on a flatter one. So it's a fast course. So far,
that'll be the old Wilmslow one, I think, the Cheshire half. Because
yeah, he starts off at Capesthorne Hall, and he goes around there. Yeah. So it's fairly flat.
Not the old Mac one. The old Mac one, that was a killer.
Yeah. So it's a fairly flat course, but I've never done. We actually last weekend we did the first training run with it. So I've not even had much time to train with it. Literally had like a couple of weeks leading. It's like we got the go ahead, come back off holiday and thought, right, we got the health and safety go ahead to do on this race in 2 weeks' time. How do we sort it? It's like, right then, okay, here we go. So I'd come back from holiday, sort of recovering from a chest infection. So I literally went hammer and tong on it. So we got a barrow sponsor, so Vaunt Tools, they're part of ITS, the power tool company. They've actually supplied us a barrow. So we got that and we've chopped it to bits. So we've knocked, taken a 14 kilo plastic body builder's barrow. We've knocked 2.5 kilo off it, extended the wheelbase, spread the handles out a bit, bent them out,
so
and then
you need to make it fit you a bit better because
the
barrow's very much of a sort of like it's built for heavy lifting and then walking 20 yards into it and not
So we've had to so it's like elongating the wheelbase. It means the fact that the weight loads onto the wheel better, but also knocking the weight off the centre of the barrow means that when I'm running with it, I've actually lost about 1.7 kilo off the handlebar weight.
Yeah, you've got centrifugal force moving it forward, haven't you? Straight.
So moving forward. So once you're rolling, but you've got to get it up. But also lengthening the wheelbase stops it from bouncing as much. So I've taken my old engineering days and turning it into a little bit like Pimp Me Barrow. So
Red Bull Barrow race is coming next.
So we set that up for the half marathon, which is this coming Sunday. I think we set off about, I think it's 9 or 9:30 in the morning. So considering I've run 8 mile with it, is the longest run I've done so far, and the second run I've done with it. So it's
13. Is it 13.1 mile, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's sort of literally. So yeah, it's not a big distance for me. I, for example, raced half marathon on Sunday. I wasn't very well, so it wasn't very clever, to be honest. I did a 1:41 and I vomited a lot because I was ill. So I vomited at 5, 6.
I mean, 1:41 is quick for a half marathon.
So I vomited at 5, 6, 8, 9, and 12 mile.
And he still did a 1:41.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. See, even when I was running fast with like no hamstrings, I didn't do a 1:41.
Oh,
so 1:41 for people. 1:41 is fast for a half.
My fastest recently is a 1:23:11.
Now you're just taking the piss.
Yeah, but I literally felt like I was going to die for 9 mile of it.
I'll be down for 1:23 of it.
I literally, when you feel like you want to walk from 4 miles, you're thinking, I've got to keep this up for 13. It was that bad.
Nice.
So, but I'm fairly driven, and also, as I say, it's my thing that deals with mental health. Sometimes I actually do better when I'm suffering because it actually drives me. So that's part of my nature. It's just part of the reason why we're doing some of these challenges like they are. So, like with the half, considering we've not done very much training with it, I want to try and get as close to or do a sub 2 hour half with a barrow.
It's still pretty quick. I mean, 2 hours for the layman person to say. I'm not talking about.
It's about the mean average.
Yeah, not for an established runner like yourself. That's obviously quite a slow time, but for the general Joe Blogs public, 2 hours is still a very good, respectable time. Isn't
when
it?
you can't use your arms, so you can't drive your arms, you can't quite see where your feet are going.
Yeah. So, God, a half marathon is the easy race. Let's hear about a few of these other ones that are progressing up to if they're going to get more interesting.
So yeah,
these being insane.
So we're looking at ones that we are confirmed that we're going to do. It's just time scaling. So we're looking at doing Snowdon with a barrow.
I know lads that have done it with a fridge on the back. So
yeah, that's part. It's a training race.
I mean, I've been up and down Soda a million times.
Yeah, but I've done it
on a bike.
But it's part. Some of these are building up to other things. That's all part of the cycle.
I'm just thinking. I mean, Soda itself isn't hard, but with the barrow, that is going to be.
Yeah, well, the other thing is the barrow throws you out of balance, and then also we're going to try and push as much as we can.
Yeah, because the other thing, you've got those big steps about 2/3 of the way up, haven't you?
Yeah, so it's going to be more fast packing and running.
Okay.
So it's still going to be better.
A training run. Now where are we going?
The Yorkshire Three Peaks with a barrow.
Yeah, that's just getting silly now.
So we're looking at so that's 24 mile, a lot of elevation, and some of it's going to be scrambled.
It's not even close to being. I mean, it's not far vertical, somewhere, is it? Do you know what I mean?
Pretty much, yeah. So we're basically going to make a harness that fits in the barrow body.
Oh, so you just literally, when you need to, just literally put it on like a rucksack, maybe up.
Yeah, so like a turtle shell. So the handles come up. So the handles come up above your head.
You just took it out. I think you're just going to turn around to be like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, aren't you? Really?
Yeah, there's going to be comments about that going along, literally shouting "turtle power" just for the fun.
Yeah, make the handles look like it had the swords out. Was it Raphael? No, Raphael had the size.
Don't joke about that. They are wrapped in road bike bar tape, pink. So they look. They almost look like samurai sword handle grips like that.
Because is it Michelangelo had the nunchucks, didn't he?
Yeah.
Donatello had the staff, so it must be Leonardo then.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't make any difference, but even still,
that's cool. Joking apart, yeah. So we got that. I'm also going to be doing without the barrow because of health and safety, because it is basically. I'm doing what's called Backyard Ultra in March.
An ultra, they races over 50 miles, aren't they? Generally, as a rule.
Yes, but no. This one is last man standing.
So you're going to keep running until someone stops running. Yeah.
So basically, a lot of people run at the start, and basically you keep running. So you do a 4.2 mile lap on the hour, every hour. If you don't make it round the lap in the hour, you're out.
So it's one of those more of almost a pacing event.
Yeah.
Because you don't go too fast. Because if you got too fast, you're sort of knocking yourself back for it.
Yes.
So 4.2. I mean, an ultra is generally 50 miles. That's correct.
Well, yeah. And generally they say the mean average is anything starting from 50k to 31 mile. So basically, the winner of that race last year ran for 35 hours.
140 miles.
Yeah.
140 miles.
In a circle. In a lap.
Yeah, that sounds boring.
It's
also hard work. I mean, it's
mental strength.
That has got to. Who was it now that did something similar? David Goggins, into the Navy SEAL guy. He's done quite a lot of those sort of things, hasn't he? Yeah,
it's mixture of fitness and in your head.
That's got. I would actually say that's got to be more of a mental strength than it.
Yeah.
Because your body starts breaking down after about 25 miles, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got to do your nutrition right, because then your body will then start eating the fat reserves, and if it can't eat the fat reserves, it can start eating the muscle, breaking down the muscle.
Because medically speaking, an actual normal marathon, which is 26 miles, is medically dangerous for that reason, isn't it? Because your body starts to basically eat itself because it needs more than what you can put into it. So you're going to effectively try and do 6 times that amount. So
basically, I want to try and, if I can, I've tried one before and I got injured. And I couldn't lift my leg properly. And began, by the way, the beginning of March. So it's cold, it's wet, it's in the woods, you're on your own because everyone's running at different paces. So if you have an accident, no one's going to know you're out potentially for an hour.
At any point it could be up to an hour, couldn't it?
Yeah, at least sort of thing. So the issue then is how long then it takes them to find you.
This is just going to be an absolute head fuck trying to keep going.
Yeah,
it's going to have to be one step at a time, isn't it?
Yeah, that's all you can do.
So once you get past that certain point, everyone will get to it. Obviously, different levels. It's like when do we? So
you can tend to get break off points with them. So some people have like 12-hour times they want to go for. Some people then aim for 24, stuff like that. So I'm going to try and say I want to try and get 24 hours doing it, and then see where I can go. So there's going to be that.
So 24, and anything after that is like
bonus,
a proper bonus, and see then just say can I really be asked?
24 is a dream placing for me. If you know, 24 hours.
I mean, that's virtually. So is it? So you say it was 4 mile a lap?
Yeah, 4.2 mile lap. Yeah.
So that's still ridiculous. That's close to 100 mile, isn't it? Just short shy. So like 90, 96, 97 mile. Would that be roughly something like that?
Something like that. Yeah.
It's 100 mile, give or take.
It's the worst bit with it is the brakes.
The worst part about it is the first 100 miles of the 100 miles. 100%. Yeah,
but you can't slow down and you can't stop. So you can't, like people will say, okay, I did a 100-mile race and I did it in 36 hours. You can't do it in 36 hours. Because if you are longer than that hour for that 4.2 mile lap, you're out.
So what happens at the 4 point? So say you do your first mile, your first lap.
Yep.
And you do it in say 45 minutes.
Yep. You've then got 15 minutes. Then take on food, nutrition, water, toilet break, and be on the line, ready to go for the turn of the hour. If you're not in the start corral at the turn of the hour, you're out.
So basically, it's each hour is a 4 mile race, starting on the hour, every hour, constantly,
until there's one person left.
That's just
and everybody else, bar the last person left, technically DNFs. They do not finish
because you're not the last. So where's that race taking part? It's not.
So it's basically taking part at Sherwood Pines, and it's held by a race organizer called Rasselbot Running. So Eric's a really nice guy, and so he's told me off in the past for pushing my body too far, too hard.
I mean, Sherwood Pines as well, because a lot of that is quite hard packed forest trail as well.
So you're running round through the woodlands as well and stuff like that. So you got route.
You're going to use some of the, because I used to do a lot of the husky racing there. You see, so I know Sherwood Pines. I know.
Yeah, so you've actually got some of the fire roads. You've got some of the paths through the trees as well. So you got routes.
At least it'd be a bit of a break on the old chins and the ankles, or a little. Well, saying that, routes are even worse, aren't they?
Yeah. So you imagine after middle of the night using a head torch. That's the only lighting. And you're basically trying to not trip over everything.
Or run into the trees.
Yeah.
Or the pine branches. Or there's a lot of pine branches lying around there.
So you've got that. But so that's one of the ones. Then potentially looking at what's called the 4x4x48.
That just sounds like a lot of maths, but go on, what's that?
So basically it's 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours.
So that's just a easier version of the other last man standing, actually, isn't it?
Not quite. Because you don't, it is and isn't, because it actually works differently on your body. So I'm going to use it as a training setup for the backyard. But again, it works your body differently. So because you've got a longer gap between each one, so you technically feel like you're doing a different run rather than doing continuous.
Because your body's cooled down.
Your body's cooled down, started to seize up, relax. So then you got to get going again.
I suppose that'll definitely give a different set of.
And if you're running constantly, you're always on adrenaline. Yeah, if you've got a 4-hour break, you might get 2 hours kit max.
Yeah, you're gonna struggle.
Yeah. So basically, it's 2 days of not sleeping much and trying to keep going. But I'm looking at doing that. But I'm looking at doing that with the barrow again.
Yeah, that just sounds nuts. Absolutely nuts.
So I'm going to make that one a little bit harder. Ready?
Yeah, a little bit hard. So again, there will be links to the Lighthouse
construction charity. Yeah,
construction charity. I'll make sure they go on. So if you do need to actually reach out to anybody, please do. Again, I'm sure Ben will have some sort of Just Giving page or whatever page.
It's just gone live. So I'll drop you the link over, and then we've got that on, sort of thing.
Yeah, I'll make sure that goes on. As normal, please leave us a review on any Audible platform you're listening on. You can reach me on all social media platforms if you have any comments or questions. Again, I'll also leave Ben's personal pages and links in the comments down below. Thank you very much, Ben, for taking your time out of your day today, because it's the middle of the day for a change, this one in the middle of the week, to go through what is obviously a very important topic of, if you need help, reach out.
Yeah, you're never alone.
Okay. All right, everybody, thanks very much. Take care, and we shall see you next week.
Cheers, guys.